So what we're talking about today are operating systems. And how many of you have iPhones? Who has an iPhone? Okay. How about an iPad? Okay. And a MacBook. Okay. So we'll go through a variety of things. And I guess this slide I'll do really quickly. It's just as a warning, you need to make sure you do all the updates because it does protect you from viruses and malware. And if you don't do them, you put yourself at risk. And if you send emails with viruses in them, you put others at risk. So this is what the system settings screen looks like on the iPhone. And you'll see that there's an extremely similar view between the iPhone, the iPad, and macOS now with these versions. To get to your settings, to look at, to do a software update, you go into General. And then from General, you have to, you can go to other, actually, this is to see what you have. You go to the About section, and you can then see what operating system you have. I took this screenshot before I did the 1801. So just to be clear, there are 3 different operating systems, although they're very similar. The iOS is the iPhone. It's not the same thing as the iPadOS. And the Mac is listed as a Mac OS, although this one is called Sequoia. They always have names. Just to be clear, I won't go into these links, but you can check to see what your operating system is compatible with for the iPhone and the iPad. If this was released in 2024, and so basically about 3 computer levels. I think things now that are probably about 5 or 6 years old are getting close to end of life. So, but you can check to see whether your device is listed on here, and hopefully it is. With the Mac, anyone now who has a Monterey Mac, the Monterey is running Monterey. That operating system is no longer going to be supported after November of this year. But you can see that it was supporting much older machines, although the MacBook Air through 2017, the 2014 Mac Mini, the 2015 iMac, and the cylindrical Mac Pro. So it's also the last version of Mac OS that can run on Macs with 4 gigs of RAM. So, but that is what it is. Some of the new features I'm going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about some of the features. I'm going to do some of the system features, and Anne's going to talk about the apps. And some of the things I'm going to be talking about are customization, continuity, iPhone mirroring, which is really neat, although I don't think I can make it work on Zoom. If you have AirPods, you can shake your head yes or no rather than hit a button on your phone or your computer if it's logged in. Window tiling, and there will be a lot more of these Apple Intelligence features later this year. And basically, Apple, in its wisdom, has decided to consider AI as Apple Intelligence rather than artificial intelligence. So, so customization. The tools for arranging things are really neat. When you do the swipe from the upper right of your corner to get to the control center, I'll come back to this, but let me show you what my control center now looks like. It used to be all little small icons, and I didn't have the text in there. But now, if you've gone into edit mode, you can add all sorts of new things, and you can also make the icons bigger so that you can see them. So now I can tell what, I probably knew what most of the icons meant, but sometimes when it's quicker, this is definitely helps me now. And one of the new features here, I don't know if you've noticed, if you tend to get motion sick in the car when you're using your phone, there is now this vehicle motion cues that you can turn on, and it really works well. It puts dots down the side of your phone when you have it going, when a car is moving, and it basically stabilizes your view. So it's kind of one of those neat new features this time, and that I tried out this weekend without knowing I was going to. Continuity is sort of the fact that I can be on my Mac and look down on my keyboard and see the iPhone mail app open. And I can click on it and continue working on whatever mail I was doing on my phone. So if I'm writing a message, I can continue it on the Mac. And similarly, you can continue it on the iPad. So it's a really, these are interesting features that you've got. And here's an example of iPhone mirroring. I was looking at something in Safari on my phone, and I looked down on the keyboard on my computer, and I saw that I could click on that same thing by just clicking on the link for Safari that was the iPhone version of it. So it's showing you Safari from iPhone 16 Pro Max. The AirPod tap head, it just basically means there are head gestures. If to use it, you have to go into Settings, Siri, Announce Notifications, and make sure that the Announce Notifications is on. But if you don't have to use them, and I saw an article that suggested you might feel self-conscious if you're randomly nodding or shaking your head, and no one around you, people are around you. Window tiling is a new section in the desktop and dock menu. And now you can click to move you can show the various tiled things that you can choose. And so you can have one set up so that you then drag things to the various sections. And you can also, if you don't want a little bit of margin in between the tiled windows, you can reduce that. But in order to work with it, you have to make sure that you have displays have separate spaces, and to toggle on this very thing. And I discovered that because it wasn't working for me, I had to log out after I enabled that in settings in order for it to take effect and do a restart. So this is the screen that shows you where the mission control things are, where you, first of all, tiled windows have margins. Tiled windows, let's see, tile by dragging windows to screen edges, and hold the Option key while dragging windows to tile. In order to get those on, you have to go down and make sure the displays have separate spaces is on. Okay. And then this is just saying that Apple Intelligence is coming. Actually, the first part of it with some of the writing tools and the cleanup and photographs is supposed to be activated in the end of October. But we can talk about that at, I think, a later Apple program. And then there are other parts of things that are going to roll out in December and then in 2025. So Apple Intelligence rollout is going to be a sequential thing. Hasn't already happened. And so now I will turn this over to Anne. Anne, you're muted.
And if you want to stop the share and then I'll
Yep.
start it. There's photos, a little bit of mail, messages, Safari, they all have updates. And I'll just go through them one by one here. Now, messages is interesting, and I'm going to see if I can share my iPhone, straight how the new messages works. And I can manipulate the phone, right from my keyboard on my Mac. And one of the things it does, there's a new feature called text effects. And let me start a message here, and it's going to go to Hope. And she is in my connections. And if you'll notice that, and you can see the message down here, that there should be a little icon that shows up. You start to write something, and then there should be a little plus sign, which I do not see,
I see
that
a plus
allows
to the
you
left.
to add text effects.
I see, okay, I see the plus for the tab, yeah.
But there is a plus there, and there's some more options available. And one of them is you can send a text later in the day, and you can see that you can select the date and also the time. So I'm going to send this on today, but I'm going to send it at 2 p.m. So that now I hit the send later and it will go later. Now you can see there on the screen, it shows it's going to go at 2 p.m. And I could edit the time if I so choose. But some of the text effects, you can add different, make the text big, the text will bounce, and you access that through the recording. And the text effects is not showing up right this minute. But you can also do the tap back feature, which is where you tap and hold on the message and you can send a heart or a thumbs up sign or different effects. So those are available now in messages. You know, I'm not one to animate and style my messages, but some of the younger set is.
I use hearts
Okay.
and the check mark.
And I think the send later, I think, will be a useful function. The
Yeah.
other thing that's new is that Apple has now adopted this rich communication protocol that Android and Google have used for years. And that means that you should be able to send messages to other non-Apple users and be able to send better quality images and emojis and that type of thing. The other thing that's significant with the update is you can send a text message via satellite on the iPhone. And this is important because if the power goes out and there's no phone service or cell phone service, you can go stand out in an area like on the field by the baseball field and hold your phone up to the sky and see if you can connect with a satellite. Now, with the floods in North Carolina, that is how some people have been able to get messages out. And if you are in a location with no cellular service, this message will come up. Stay in touch while letting others know you are available via satellite. And that feature will not be available unless there's no cellular service at all. So that's a good emergency tool. I would hope none of us would have to use that, however, because we live in a fairly good environment. I mean, we lose power and might lose cell service, but we might all, but who knows, we might all end up standing in the baseball field trying to make a connection. Now, Passwords is a new app, and this is an enhancement to what Apple has used already, the keychain access, but now it's an application, and you can store your passwords there, and also some of your other account credentials and verifications codes. And you might be used to the autofill feature on Safari, and I have imported my passwords from 1Password into Passwords just to see how that worked. And the links will take you to websites for more information. Now, you can import your passwords if you're using a password manager by exporting them out of the password manager into a CSV file, which is a spreadsheet protocol. Now, Safari has done some new things on iOS and also on the Mac. And you'll notice if you look on the bottom of your phone when you're in Safari, you see, it's hard to see, but it's like a little television screen with little stars and 2 lines. And that will take you to some more options available. It's titled New Page Menu, but this will get you areas to do a page search. You can increase the text size, and also you can hide things so it's less distracting. And it also, on some websites, will give you a summary of what's available on the website. And let me set that little rectangle. And then there's this little, looks like a puzzle piece. So if you tap on that, here's some of the options that will come up. Hide distracting items, turn off content blockers, manage extensions, and down below you'll see the magnifying glass with the little page. That will give you a find feature on that website. And let's go back into the page menu and also see you can increase the font. I have mine pretty big to begin with. And let's go back. And there's 3 little dots for more options. So you can see there's quite a few options. You can actually print from the page. Now this would be on your iPhone or your iPad. It's also available on the Mac, but you can see it has more actions you can do all from that one web page. I think it's kind of amazing. And there is a setting where you can use the reader, if it's available, automatically. I did not turn that on. And the microphone, you can, ask if the microphone is going to be turned on. So that might be a feature would be very interesting to make use of, especially on the iPhone, because you can increase the size of the font and do more things typically that you would do on the Mac. Now, I have found the feature for the page menu, when it provides a summary, you're not going to find it very frequently until websites start updating to use that feature. But I found it works on commercial sites like hotels and that type of thing. It was working. You won't find it on some. Now, another new feature for the iPad, they finally have a calculator that's free, and it will do math notes. You can actually use your pencil on your iPad and do formulas. And it has a conversion feature where it will convert money Here's an example, $58 US dollars equals 53.26 euros. It now has a dedicated delete key, and it will give you some history on your calculations. Now, this is on the iPad. On the lower right-hand corner, you will see the different features. It'll do basic calculations, scientific, I know we'll be using that a lot, and math notes. And then there's the convert feature. Not only money, but it will convert, volume, anything you'd want to convert is now available on the iPad calculator, which I think is a nice feature. Photos has been really redesigned, and let me see if I can show you that on now photos has a whole different view. It's got, and it's all accessible by scrolling. So this comes with the most recent photos on top, and this particular layout has like albums, memories, people, trips, different media types. And this feature is interesting with utilities. And what I find interesting is I've got to go through here and see all these duplicates. But the receipts is new. Now, these would be receipts that you're taking, scanning copies of actual receipts, which would be nice for tax purposes. Recently deleted, so you can still get back in there. And now wallpapers is a new feature. These are things they thought I might be interested as wallpapers. They're just generating this randomly. But what's important for you to notice is the customize and reorder. If you don't like the order of how it is showing up on your iPhone, you can drag this up to a higher level, so that will come before some of the other things. And that's a nice feature. Or you can eliminate by not having those show up. So Photos also has better iCloud syncing, and the features using Apple Intelligence will come later, and that apparently offers memory and cleanup features that are not available right this minute. Okay, let's see. The next app is Notes. Now, Notes has enhanced features also. You can now record audio, and you can attach files to Notes. And now on the bottom, you'll see a paperclip, and that's where you can record audio in Notes or attach files. And let me go into Notes so you can see that. The collapse heading is a very nice feature. Now, here's an article that I had copied off of a university, and has to do with paternalism and care of older persons. And it was very long. And you notice now there's a new highlight feature that you can highlight sections, and you can also collapse headings. Notice there's now a little arrow on the side that will show more content underneath. So you just tap on that and it will either expand or collapse it. And what's good about that is if you have long articles or notes that you don't have to keep scrolling down the whole length, you can collapse headings. And you can see why. This was an interesting article about the difference between authoritarianism or overprotectors in terms of senior living. And so that's a new feature. And also on the iPad, you can use your pencil and it will convert your handwriting into text. And you can also now attach files to notes. And here's where you would record auto or attach a file. And you can PDFs or here, I'm going to attach this screenshot that I just did. See how easy that was. So that's some of the new updates in Notes. Another very useful one, and I'm using it now, is reminders now will go onto your Apple Calendar. So you don't have to be looking in two places. I use my calendar a lot, and I've always been trying to figure out where do I want to put my to-do list or my task. Sometimes I've used different specific to-do apps, but now I'm going to stick with reminders and the calendar because you can add due dates now to your reminders, and it directly goes on to your, I'm going to show you. Okay, here's my reminders. And you can see I had a few things. And here now it shows that we were giving something to the treasure sale. I was able to put in the time and the date. And that shows up on my calendar with that time and date. So you don't forget something. I think it's kind of cool. And the calendar views are more enhanced. And let me show you that. Okay, here's the calendar. Now notice the different views that you have. Now it's showing the whole month in by just scrolling down from one month to month. But you've got different views there. I am showing details. You can show it stacked, which just gives you, it'll show you the number of events that you have. Now, for instance, on the 17th here, it says there's 3. And then just the plain list, just list them. I kind of like the one that has details because I happen to color code my events in my calendar. That's why there's all those different colors. And I've got too many things going on, it looks like. But I'd be interested to hear what people, if you start using reminders in the calendar, what you think of it. Now, the journal is very new. It just showed up in operating the system 17.2. It's only available on the iPhone, and it's a journal feature that you can use. But now they've added search, and you can use a widget now on your home screen, and you can also look at various stats. And the journal would be a good way to track different things in your life. It'd be quick and easy, and you can dictate. You can use your voice to record. I have been keeping a daily journal, not in that particular app, in another one, and it is so handy for reminders on when I did various things and when I went to the doctor, when the last time I had my hair cut, with the search feature. So if you're not using that, that might be a good way to kind of offload things from your brain so you don't have to remember your brain. So that's what we have to offer. So we'll take some questions and mention next month we're going to talk about using voice control on your devices.